Today on Rat and Cat, a couple more stories from Undersheriff Pat Bond. One about a man who didn't want to be found, and the other about a woman whose tracks seem to just disappear. Welcome to Rat and Cat, where we search for those who have gone missing so others can learn how to survive. I'm Nakia. I think one of the big reasons that people go missing in the wild is because of mental health issues, that they are either untreated or have abandoned their treatment. Today we're going to tell two of those stories. The first is from a woman who was acting strangely and sending strange messages to her family and then vanished. And the other is from a man who was sending strange messages to his family and tried to vanish but wasn't successful. One of the cases I've heard about, but I don't have much information on, is a woman that went missing a few years ago up in the mountains and just disappeared.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the one you're referring to is probably the one out of the Trout Lake area, 23 Road, Mount Adams Ranger District. And I actually was involved with some of that. She was listed as missing and endangered, which happens quite a bit, obviously. There are people that are in some sort of distress mentally, maybe in crisis, and make some comments or do some actions that lead the family to believe that they're a danger to themselves. And in this case, that's exactly what had happened. And again, she wasn't from the area. There was some phone calls made and some pictures sent back and forth. She had actually written a detailed note about what to do with her belongings and where things should go in her car and things of that nature. And of course not from our area, but of course car found in our area, which is very, very common with that type of thing in a rural setting. We see a lot of that from everywhere. We had gone up, I went up there actually with two other deputies, and her car was there. And according to the family, not really physically fit, heavy set, can't really go too far, according to family and the information that we'd gotten. We get to the car's there, matches the description, plate matches, it's registered to her. There we go. Been there a while, we can tell it's been there a while. There's a little bit of snow starting to melt, so you had snow drifts. Not deep, but every 10, 20 feet behind the car would be a snow drift. And then there'd be bare ground, another drift, bare ground, things of that nature. So we're actually following footprints from the car that show her or show whoever was driving the car going up this spur road off of a main 23, the paved 23 road. So we follow the footprints. We get to a Y, the footprints stop, and she's nowhere. We do 3 days worth of searching with deputies, with search and rescue personnel, with cadaver dogs. Nothing. Didn't find a trace of her.
No signs of a struggle there on the ground?
No.
There was
absolutely nothing. The car was fine. There was nothing unusual about the entire event other than not finding her. And according to the family, that she wasn't able to walk very far, couldn't get around very well in her home life, So common sense would say she'd be close to the car. It's been 5 years.
And if she just rolled down the mountain or something, you checked all down there?
Sure. With dogs. We did dogs, cadaver dogs, scent dogs, ground searchers, law enforcement. We had law enforcement there combing the woods as well. When you talk about someone who's in mental distress or critical crisis, where they have made comments maybe don't want them to hurt themselves, or we take those very seriously. And we will the initial attack, the initial response will be law enforcement to search, because we don't know, maybe there wasn't a comment made of how they're going to do it or why they want to do it or what they're going to use the method of. So we won't put volunteers out there until we're sure it's safe enough for them to proceed. So this case we started with law enforcement, and then as the days went by, then we brought in volunteer searchers, and still absolutely baffling.
Mm-hmm. Can you think of a case where somebody has been found that looked like they were trying not to be found?
Actually, we had one yesterday. Really? Yeah. Cape Horn Trail. Wow. Just right off of Highway 14. Subject was in mental distress. Made some comments. Was Snapchatting with it must have been friends or family out of the Vancouver area. They made the call to our office. We had 4 deputies down there, including Sheriff Brown himself, walking the trails. Could not find this gentleman. We walked from 4 different angles, 4 different trail entrances to try to find him. We talked to the hikers coming out, going in, coming out. No one saw him. It just so happened, towards the end of the day, one of the deputies was working his way back out to the Strunk Road exit, was contacted by 2 female hikers, said they had just seen him down in the viewpoint. Went back to the viewpoint, he wasn't there. We found evidence he was there. On his way back, the females, the hikers had left, and on his way out, they came back and said, well, no, he's over in the bushes right there.
Oh, wow.
So they were to locate him off the trail, laying down in some bushes. Could have been critical because of what he had done, ingested some things he probably shouldn't have. And we were able to find him and break him out. But that's another case of someone who doesn't want to be found, who may be asking for help with the Instagram or the social media part of it, but he's not saying where he is other than I'm on this trail system. So you're talking about a needle in a haystack, other than it was a beautiful day and we had several hikers out there, and just so happened one of the hikers had walked by and saw him in the woods off the trail.
Wow.
So happy ending there, but that's one of the ones that we could still be looking for right now.
Wow. Yeah, and thinking about how hypothermia, how people tend to burrow or get under a log or into
Yes.
a tight clump of bushes, that
Right.
make it even harder to find.
Right. So many factors play a part in that, and it is heartbreaking when we can't bring someone home. It bothers me. It bothers the searchers. It's that's what we're here to do. But realistically, with resources available to us, would I like to be able to search all year? Yes. Personally, absolutely. That's part of the mission of the Sheriff's Office. Search and rescue falls under the Sheriff's Office by RCW. That's our job. But realistically, resource-wide, calls for service don't stop. Our manpower is limited. You know, we will do everything we can to find you. Everything we can, whether it be dogs or volunteer searchers or aircraft or whatever we need to do. But there has to be a limit too. There's an inherent danger with hiking, with kayaking, with really anything that you do in the woods. There's an inherent danger. Anything can happen. So I think you take some of that risk upon yourself. And some of these, that when people go missing, some of the problem is communication. Where are you going to be? Where are you going to park? What's the route you're going to take? When are you expected back? Are you prepared to stay overnight? Multiple nights? Are you experienced in the woods? Have you been on that trail before? These are all things that people should consider even when they're taking a day hike, whether it be Beacon Rock or Table Mountain or Dog Mountain, or Cape Horn Trail. Anything can happen. You can become injured. Maybe your cell phone's dead. You can't get out. Maybe it's not a well-marked trail. You have people go off the trail. So that's not the trail. And then you want us to find you. It's just a common sense thing. It's be smart about what you're doing, whether it's a day hike or you're going to go out for a week. Yeah. It's help us help you. Don't make it a mystery.
Yeah, and even with volunteer resources, I know that search and rescue volunteers can't go out there either for 4 hours, 8 hours. That's a long time.
It's a long time, and they're leaving their jobs, their homes, their families to come find you. You're out recreating. They're living their life. They're leaving their jobs sometimes. Maybe they have an employer that understands the mission. We could not do search and rescue without our volunteers. They are a fantastic group of people. They should be thanked every time that you see them. If they come out and help a family member, you should bend over backwards for these folks. They're just like you, but they've decided to help their community by training and training and training and training. And when the call comes out, we light the lantern that we need the help, they're on the spot. And they are in some horrible elements. They do some treacherous work. but we could not do it without them. They are the backbone of everything that we do with search and rescue.
Those of you that have been following my search for Zizowitz might be a little disappointed that I left you hanging this last week and didn't follow up this week. I'm going to be working on that here in the near future, but I just didn't have time to finish that up this week. Those episodes tend to be a little bit more involved in the post-production editing process. So those will be coming back. In the meantime, if you think this is a worthy endeavor, please like, subscribe, and share this channel, and leave a donation on my Patreon page if you feel like it. Thanks a lot, and I hope you are getting out there and enjoying nature for yourself.